Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we have missing Laurie Renee Lucas, June 8th, 1990, only 24 years old, Aurora, Colorado, 5'7", 130 pounds. And it just says she was last seen in Aurora, Colorado. There's no other information there about the circumstances. This says she has straight brown hair. Is that straight? That doesn't look straight to me. Maybe it's straight and she curls it. I don't know. Doesn't look straight to me. Anyway. Blue eyes. Wears glasses. Doesn't list any transportation or anything. The Doe Network says she was born January 17th, 1966. Brown hair, blue eyes. 24 years old only. June 8th, 1990. It says she was reported missing January 8th, 1991. Hold on. 1990. She wasn't reported missing till 6 months after she went missing. Her mother reported her missing via telephone from Iowa Falls, Iowa. According to her mother, she had not heard from her daughter for at least 6 months prior to the report. At least 6 months. Does that mean she could have been missing before June 8th, 1990? When did she actually go missing then? Authorities have also been attempting to locate living relatives to obtain DNA reference samples for CODIS entry. She lived on the 13400 block of East Colfax Avenue at the Weekly Motor Inn. She was last seen with William Bannister, a suspected serial killer. He advised law enforcement the last time he was a suspected serial killer, and he's saying the last time he saw her was in September or October of 1990. He stated she left for Texas with a roofer named Mike. Mr. Bannister has been unresponsive to follow-up interview questions. A suspected serial killer. That is frightening. I was thinking, oh, maybe she's just, because some of these people, they're reported missing. They find them later, and they're fine. And, they just moved away or they just don't keep in touch. But some of these are actually frightening. Brown hair, blue eyes. And this one says, this is the Charlie Project. They usually have a lot of information. This one says the mother reported her missing January 8, 1991. She hadn't heard from her daughter no later than June 8, 1990. No later, but it could have been sooner, right? She was living at the Weekly Motor Inn, Colfax Avenue. She's last seen with William James Bannister. He told authorities he had last seen her September or October. He said she left with a roofer, went to Texas. Bannister, that William James Bannister, suspected serial killer, allegedly murdered his girlfriend in 1978 and served 5 years in prison for the crime. In 1986, April Cooper, his neighbor's 6-year-old daughter, disappeared while in his care. What? In 1993, he was sentenced to 16 years for attempted murder after he tried to strangle his son's girlfriend. Bannister was convicted of April's murder in 1998 and sentenced to life in prison without parole, but the child's body has never been found. Authorities believe he may have harmed... I don't like it when they call them Lucas, by their last name Laurie. Wow. Authorities believe he may have harmed Laurie as well, but there is insufficient evidence to charge him, and he now refuses to speak to police about the case. Laurie's disappearance remains unsolved and foul play is suspected. And there's a link to April Cooper. Oh, wow, 7-year-old child. Rancho, California, missing since 1986. A white leotard, a lavender dress, a white sweater. She was last seen walking to an arcade at Woodchuck RV Campground in Rancho, California on December 13th, 1986. Her and her mother lived there. She's never been heard from again. April was being supervised by a neighbor, William James Bannister, at the time she disappeared, who was employed as a truck driver from Colorado in 1986. He had offered to babysit her when she and her mother went to work at She and her mother didn't go to work. Only one of them went to work. When her mother went to work at an Old Town Temecula thrift store in Temecula, California that day. He said he gave April $5 to play video games at the arcade and she never came home. 7 years old. The day after she disappeared, Bannister went to his father's wedding reception in dirt-caked clothes. He told the attendees that he had gotten dirty while participating in the search for April. In fact, he was not even part of the search efforts. He spoke to his father privately, then left the reception a short time after. That evening, Bannister's father told his new wife that Bannister had done it again. Bannister had killed his girlfriend in San Diego, California in 1978 and served 5 years in prison for second-degree murder. He was released from prison in 1984. After April's disappearance in 1993, he tried to strangle his son's 14-year-old girlfriend in the back of his truck and was sentenced to 16 years for attempted murder. When police searched the truck for evidence in that case, they found jewelry, bloodstains, women's undergarments, and several ligatures. Bannister was charged with April's presumed homicide in 1995. 9 years after she disappeared, he was extradited from Colorado to California for the trial. Investigators believe that he killed April as part of a brutal sexual fantasy, then concealed her remains. His father was deceased by then, but Bannister's son testified that in 1989, Bannister told him April was dead. Bannister allegedly stated April fell off a rock and broke her neck while they were hiking together. He was convicted of her murder in 1998 and sentenced to life in prison without parole in early 1999. Authorities believe Bannister may have also been involved in the disappearance of Laurie Lucas, a Colorado woman who vanished in 1990, but he has never faced charges in that case. April's body has never been located. She was a first-grade student at Cottonwood Elementary School in December 1986. How horrific. How sad. And he probably seemed really nice. He probably seemed really nice, and he was probably like, "Oh, look, let me help you out. Let me do this for you. Let me help you out." That's the thing, if you're a single mom and you get a job and you're desperate and you need a babysitter, and then you have a man there and he's like seems so helpful and so kind. Sometimes you trust somebody. They seem like, "Oh, here, I'll give you a ride. I'd be happy to babysit. I'm not doing anything." You know, it would be, it would be my pleasure. I'm off that day or I'm not doing anything. I'll just help you temporarily or I'm here for you if you need me. And you think, "Oh, what a nice person." And you never suspect that they have ulterior motives. You never suspect it because they seem like they're so nice. "Oh, I'll give your child a ride to school. No problem. I'll drive you to the grocery store. If you go out partying with your friends and drinking and you need somebody sober to drive you home, I'll be that person to do that for you, and they'll tell you what a nice person they are, or they're just there to help you and they don't and they make it sound like they're just a nice person and you just trust them and you just believe them and you never think twice about it. Something in the back of your mind is like, I shouldn't leave my child with a man babysitter instead of a woman, or with a man instead of a teenage girl or something like that. But then you're like, "Oh, he seems so sweet, he seems so nice." And then there you go. And to me, it's just the people that I've met that have done things like that, they always just seem too nice. They got that saying where if it seems too good to be true, it is. And you just you just don't suspect them. You don't suspect that they would ever do anything bad because they just seem like such a nice person, you know? And I hate that. I hate that it works out that way. But sometimes that's just how it is. And people will say, oh, you know, they'll never suspect them. Never. Ah, it's terrible. Anyway, on with the video. So we have this missing Laurie Renee Lucas, June 8th, 1990. And then I'm going to look at some Jane Does in different states, different places, just ones that I ran across. And those are the ones that I've decided to include in the video. I don't know if any of them are her or not, but these are the Jane Does that I've decided to include in the video. I have this Jane Doe was found in Oklahoma. And seeing now that he was a truck driver, I don't know if he was a truck driver when she went missing. So we have this Jane Doe. Uh-oh. Was that my phone? Of course it was. I'm sorry about that. So, okay, so that wasn't your phone, so don't go hunting for your phone. So we have this Jane Doe found January 5th, 1990. It says Oklahoma. Estimated date of death 1985 to 1989. Blunt trauma to the head. White with possible Native American or Hispanic mixture. 5'3" to 5'7". I believe Laurie was 5'7". Yes, 130 pounds. Possibly brown hair. So, and unknown color of eyes. Fragments of a pair of light tan slacks with a pleated front, light tan cloth belt with gold buckle and leather tip. White baseball cap. Oh, there's no sizes. White collared shirt were found with the search area. I wish they would have had sizes. Gold in the search area. Gold color ring with filigree heart with 6 clear stones was also found in the area, marked GP14K. On January 5th, 1990, half of the victim's complete skeleton was found in a creek bed 1 mile north of I-40, next to an intersection called Dead Man's Corner, in a remote area of western Canadian country. A telephone company crew inspecting a line discovered the skull in a field near State Highway 66. And if you have any information on this missing person, Laurie Lucas, or any of these Jane Does, and you think you know who they might be, please contact authorities and let them know. If you know somebody that went missing in that area, maybe you have a loved one, a friend, a family member that was missing, and check and make sure they have a name as case file if they're missing. And check and make sure they have an open case file, and if not, please contact authorities. I would contact them with any information after all these years that you might have, because you never know with all the way the information's been stored over the years, whether it was in a basement or in a storage unit, in boxes on paper, or in some old floppy disk or word processor, you know, they may have lost information that they may have once had. So the more information you give them, the better. Here's a Jane Doe found February 11th, 1990, Harris County, Texas. Estimated date of death 1989 to 1990. And I want to look at Laurie to see, you know, if I think that these Jane Does look anything like her. And so this Jane Doe was found in Harris, Texas. Estimated age 35 to 50, which is older than Laurie because Laurie was only 24. Brown hair, frosted, thick, and curly. There's more information. You can pause it and read it if you like. This one, it says compressed fractures, poorly healed compression fracture on the left. Why did she have, was she being abused or something? I don't know. It said this condition would have developed, severe inflammatory joint disease was in the right shoulder. This condition would have developed over time and would have caused a lot of pain to the extent that this person would likely have expressed frequent discomfort. Upper teeth were protruding, several teeth missing prior to death, no dental restorations. Short-sleeved white pullover sweater, terry cloth type with thin threads of blue and red. No sizes. The descendant was located in a field at 818 Ridgecrest in Houston, Texas. I don't know if they couldn't tell what sizes they were, but I think they should always have sizes. When somebody goes missing, they should list the sizes of the clothing the person wore, the sizes of their shoes, everything. And when they find a Jane Doe or a John Doe, they should list the sizes. This Jane Doe was found February 3rd, 1981 in Virginia. Estimated date of death 1990 to 1991. Height 5'5", I think estimated 114 pounds. Estimated age 20 to 39 years old. Sandy colored hair. Khaki shorts, panties, a rust-colored tank top, and a black short-sleeved knit sweater. Once again, no sizes. The victim was located in a vacant lot off Timber Ridge Trail. Boys riding bikes found a partially decomposed body covered underbrush, leaves, and rocks on an undeveloped lot in Shawnee Land subdivision in Winchester, Virginia. Interval between death and discovery estimated to be between 3 and 6 months. Wow. There's a Jane Doe found in West Virginia, September 1st, 1991. Estimated date of death 1981 to 1991. Estimated to be 5'7". Estimated age 25 to 32 years old. That reminds me of Laurie. But could have died anywhere from 1981 to 1981. That's a 10-year difference. No clothing found in the body. The descendant skeletal remains were found outside US 19 near the town of Coolidge, 1 mile to 2 miles inside Mercer County. Wonder if this. Oh yeah, there's their name as case file. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not her. Maybe it's somebody that died before her. I don't know. But they're about the same age and about the same height. And next Jane Doe I have, California, found February 15th, 1990. Estimated date of death is 1990. Height estimated to be 5'5", 25 to 45 years old. Long, wavy black and blonde hair, which could be a wig. Black gray jacket, long sleeve terry cloth blouse, 1 gray boot. Was located in a field in Sylmar, California, February 15th, 1990. And I feel like he was in California. Because that other little girl that went missing was California. So I wondered if he did road trips to California. This young lady was found in New Mexico. Estimated date of death is 2 days before June 5th, 1991. She was 5'7" and 140 pounds. And I don't think this is Laurie because it says she has strawberry blonde hair and hazel eyes. But I wanted to include her anyway. Because she estimated date of death is 2 days prior. And here they have a picture of, must be what she looked like, right? And her clothing. You think somebody would know who this was. Strawberry blonde hair. Multicolored bikini underwear, size medium, size 6. Multicolored white, pink, red, yellow trends, tank top. White denim Guess product by George's. I don't know how to pronounce that. Zipper near lower leg, size 31. Her jeans are size 31. And she had jewelry, wide metal silver gold collar bracelet. See photo. 3 metal earrings. Found in the room were a dark blue and black suede purse and patterned pocket. See photo. $500 in cash. A suitcase with women's clothing. Photo booth picture. See photo. A photo booth picture. This is her in the photo booth picture, I guess. In New Mexico. You think somebody would know who she was, right? The descendant was located in a motel room locked inside at the Super 8 motel by a motel security guard. She was hanging from the shower head by a suitcase strap. No identification was found in the room. Based on recent tip, it is believed her name was Rebecca or Becca and is from the Los Angeles area, possibly Reseda or Sylmar. And the last one we had was Sylmar, because there was a Jane Doe found in Sylmar in 1990, and then this Jane Doe was found in 1991 and may have been from Sylmar. So that's interesting, right? It is believed she flew from California to New Mexico prior to her death. And she had $500 in cash on her. And then we have this Jane Doe found in Illinois, July 20th, 1990. Estimated date of death is 2 to 3 days prior. Homicide by stabbing. Estimated age is 25 to 35 years old, 5'4" to 5'6". Red auburn hair, wore in a ponytail. She had an upper denture plate. Bra, white in color, size 36A, made in the Philippines. T-shirt, pink in color, crew neck with 4 palm trees on the front. And in the blue, the word Florida. White sandal type shoes with straps. White metal or silver ring with a heart-shaped turquoise stone on the right ring finger. She was discovered in a bean field about 40 feet north of Lebanon Road and just west of Troy and O'Fallon Road. She had been placed at the scene about 2 or 3 days prior to being discovered. The cause of death was multiple stab wounds to her neck and torso. There was no evidence of defensive wounds on the victim, indicating she did not fight her murderer. What was thought to be evidence of a hysterectomy indicates the uterus had been removed as part of an extensive cutting, stabbing, and mutilation, and the killer may have removed the reproductive organs. It is believed she was sexually assaulted. Oh, that's just terrible. Here's a Jane Doe found in Pennsylvania, July 22nd, 1990. Wow, those get zoom in really big, don't they? Decomposed, blunt force trauma to the right side of the skull. Height 4'10" to 5'6". That is quite a difference. That is my phone again. Once again, it is not yours. I should have turned the sound off. Dark brown shoulder length hair. Dentals available. She may have come from an area with fluoride in the water since her teeth had no fillings and no sign of decay. Perfect condition of her teeth. There were several distinctive characteristics to help identify her. She had a chipped tooth, but it is unknown if it occurred before or after her death. Her jeans were a size 9-10, Fruit of the Loom panties, size 7, a black shop-like California short-sleeve button-down shirt with an attached floral vest. She wore no socks, shoes, or bra. There was a penny in each jeans pocket. It is unknown if the pennies were left on purpose or simply disregarded if her killer was emptying her pockets. The victim was found lying face down in a stream bed by Road 535 in a remote area of Monroe Township by teenagers who were crossing under railroad trestle looking for berries. They observed something lying in the stream which they thought was a deer, but then they found it was a body. The area was approximately 3 miles south of I-80 and is not well-traveled road. Authorities are convinced there are individuals in Clarion County who had contact with the woman and can help state police identify her and her killer. They do not believe the woman is from the county or the immediate area, but believe she was brought to the area by a local individual. They also believe she was in Clarion County at most a month before she was killed. On Sunday, May 27th, Memorial Day weekend, about 5,000 people attended a day-long outdoor rock concert about 15 miles from where the Jane Doe was found. The concert, called Music Alley, featured rock bands The Stand, Down to the Wire, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, B.E. Taylor, and Cleveland. It was held on a farm only 5 minutes from exit 6 of I-80 and drew crowds from Pittsburgh, Ohio, and beyond. There are no indication that she attended the concert, but it sounds like she may have. In the summer of 2002, authorities received an anonymous letter about the girl. Law enforcement put out a plea asking the author of the letter to contact them again, but the writer never responded. She has been named Penny Doe, probably because of the pennies found in her pockets. Estimated age 20 to 40 years old. I feel like I wonder if she could even be younger. I feel like maybe she went to that concert. Maybe she was 20 years old and she went to that concert. She could have been 21, 22. We don't know. 30. She could have even been 30, but maybe she wanted to go to that concert, Who knows? It's just tragic. A Jane Doe found in Buena Vista, Colorado, October 21st, 1989. And this is before, because she wasn't reported missing until June 8th, 1990, but she could have been missing before that from what I read. It sounded like they weren't sure what time she went missing, So I decided to go ahead and include this one as well. October 21st, 1989, Buena Vista, Colorado. Chaffee County, single mandible was found underneath a porch of a resident north of Buena Vista in Chaffee County. And Brighton, Colorado. This one reminded me of her, even though this Jane Doe is too short to be Laurie, but it reminded me of her, so I want to include her. All right, so she was estimated age 18 to 35, and where Laurie was 5'7", this Jane Doe is only estimated to be about 5'3". The victim's remains were located near 54th Avenue and Marion Street. She may be white, Native American, or Hispanic. Brown hair, possibly frosted or highlighted. Small in stature. Possibly had a wedding band. And that's only 34 minutes from where Laurie went missing. So, I don't know. I just thought she looked a bit similar. And it was so close to where she went missing from. That's the one that I really thought, maybe. But this one has reminded me of a couple of people. And there's other people that went missing near there. But I don't know. I wanted to make sure I included her. Okay, so the next one I have is found in Clear Creek County, Colorado, 1995, estimated age 17 to 36. A skull located near Echo Lake. That's an hour and 8 minutes away. I think that's somebody else, though, but I'm including her. This Jane Doe, I think she's taller than Laurie, 5'10" estimated. Yeah, she's like 3 inches taller. Says she was found in Colorado in 1999, estimated age 30 to 45, which should make her a little bit older. Remains found by a man in the general vicinity. She was in a refrigerator. You can pause this and read it if you want to. Brown hair, split ends, no split ends. She was about perhaps 5'9" to 6 foot tall. In a refrigerator. I wonder how long she had been in the refrigerator. I wonder if that throws off the date. And that Jane Doe was found about 2.5 hours away. This Jane Doe or John Doe, I'm not sure if it's male or female, found in Adams County, Colorado in 2001. So, and then we have, that's 47 minutes away. Then we have a Jane Doe found in Lakewood, Colorado in 2013. And you can pause that and read it if you like. And that one was found 36 minutes away. So, in a cauldron in a vacated residence. And then the last one I have was found in Rye, Colorado in 2022. But some of the things with her made it seem like, I don't know what her estimated date of death was. But here are some of the things that were with her. Like this little purse with a little clip. Anyway, that's my last one. And she was found about 2 hours and 2 to 2.5 hours away. So if you have any information about Laurie Lucas or any of these Jane Does, please contact authorities and let them know. Give them any information that you have, even if it's hearsay. You heard it through the grapevine. It's not like you're going to testify in a court of law. Don't forget to pray for their families and their loved ones that haven't had closure. They've never, they don't know what happened to their loved one. All these people have families. So, and feel free to leave comments and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.